Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the Brothas-in-law. I'm Corey Taylor. As you know, I'm a former Virginia State Trooper and a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. And tonight, I got my sidekick with me, Mr. Michael Bradley, who worked in police department in 26 years. What's going on, Mike?
Nothing much. Good to be back talking about cop stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Teaching the public about what we do, what we did, why we do the things we do, right?
Yep. So before we get started on tonight's topic, which would be escalating versus de-escalating situations and the importance of it and the police officer's role in that type of situation, as well as the citizen's role, what the police officer expects from the citizen. All right. And so if you like this content to this video that we're doing this evening, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Please. We are over 1,000 views right now of the 11 videos we put up this far. So we thank you for all those who've been watching our videos every week. Please share these videos. You never know who this might affect and can possibly help them out. So please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's see, am I missing anything else? Oh, shout out to your favorite PO, Miss Brittany and Chris for having us on their podcast over the weekend. We'll let you know.
That's podcast.
We'll let you know when that's going to be released. We'll put it in on our channel here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this topic of escalation versus de-escalation in a traffic stop. And why is that important?
And, I think, a lot of people, we get a lot of questions about why aren't cops more trained in de-escalation? Or we see incidents on the media and stuff like that about it gives the perception that cops are too quick to react or too, they're trying to, instead of taking a little bit of extra time to try to calm a situation down, sometimes it seems like they get to a situation and they want to blow it up, or they become too strong with it and it creates something that doesn't need to be. And, although that may be true in some incidents, I mean, I think, Corey, you and I have both seen officers that probably were a little quick to, react to some things or the way they come across as far as just talking to somebody. Sometimes they can talk to somebody and they can sound too direct or too authoritative when it's not necessary for them to do so. And I think a lot of that comes with experience, you know what I'm saying? I used to see that with a lot of the younger officers when I was working as a cop, that because when you come out of the academy, one of the strong characteristics you try to portray is an authoritarian type thing. And I think as a young guy or gal coming onto the street, new to the game, I think they still have it in their mind that they are they want to come across as very assertive, very authoritative, and it comes out in their words and how they talk to people. Now, when you're in the FTO program, the field training program, we try to teach these young people, young officers, that there's a time and a place to be authoritative. You see what I'm saying? You have to still talk to people in a normal way. You have to talk to people as if you want to be spoken to, in other words. So it's not always necessary, to come across as, I need you to do this, do that, sit down here, sit down there, stand up, turn around. You know what I'm saying? Giving those quick robotic responses to people and how they talk to people. With cops, I think in general, one of the things that cops do when they go to a hot call or a call that's high stress or anything like that, we always have in the top of our mind, number one, maintain control of the contact, whether it's a traffic stop or a call for service at someone's home. If it's a high, intense call, we want to control the scene, get everybody calm and stay safe. We don't want to hype that scene up because we know as officers that when you elevate a scenario, a situation, things could go bad. A lot of stuff can go bad. So we naturally, when we get to a scene, we naturally want to calm people down so that we can find out what's going on. We can't find out what's going on unless we get everybody calm and get their sides of the story. Same way with a traffic stop. You know, I know you got a lot of traffic stops, Corey, where, you know, you might come across somebody. Some people don't like to be stopped, and they're going to be high intense level of intense, you know, when they get pulled over by the police. They may disagree with being pulled over by the police or whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? So when we contact people on traffic stops, the number one priority is to keep them calm. And if they're not calm, let's try to get them calm, because I can't accomplish my task as an officer when someone is irate or, you know, out of control. What do you say to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's how you interact with the people. You have to, people, when you arrive on scene, it's important that those that are on scene, they have to know who's now in charge of the scene, and it's going to be the officer. Prime example, I had a gentleman that I was FTOing with, and one thing I used to have to talk to him about was, you know, command a presence. Hey, you have to let people know you are in charge, and this is what you need them to do. Right now, because it was a chaotic scene, and but he didn't have that type of personality, right? And that's why I say, you know, in doing this job, you have to be a type personality, type of a person.
Yeah, you do have to be able to show you in charge.
But the thing is, you know, our number one thing is going to, like you just said, going to a scene is not to escalate the situation. We're trying to de-escalate. That's our number one priority, is to de-escalate the situation, whatever it may be. You know, because even like, you know, this situation here, this young man here, you know, I had to, as an FTO, I had to step in, pull him off the scene, off to the side, and take control of the scene, because the gentleman that we needed to get under control, he couldn't get him under control. It was a crash that happened. We had most of the interstate shut down, and he's just, you know, doing whatever he wants to do. Like, no, that's not how this is going to work. You're going to get over here, and if you don't do what I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen next. Start telling them and letting them know, hey, you will comply with what I have to say and tell you to do. And so, you know, it's certain situations where you have to, you know, be authoritarian like that. But, you know, and when people are, you know, are just say upset, for whatever case may be, you may have to come in high to get their attention, to bring them down. Right, especially out there on the interstate. I mean, a lot of times you can't come in, you know, soft spoken and stuff like that. Nobody gonna hear you on the interstate. You know, you got to come high. Hey, this is what you get over here right now. Listen to what I'm telling you. You want to come over here. This is what you need to do. Right. Notice I'm shaking my head like, yep, this is what you need. Come on over. And have a seat in the car. But you have to establish who's in charge, because if you don't, you can lose control of the situation, and it'll be total chaos there, and you know, people can get hurt or killed. So
that's true.
When it comes to escalating, de-escalating, that's our law enforcement's number one priority, is to de-escalate. And like you say, we know, you know, some people say, well, police need more training on how to de-escalate, how to, now, sometimes you got to come in hot to bring that level of that situation down, so everybody is in control. I just think that's, you know, very important that our listeners know that, you know, that's not the officer's thing to come in and just be all gung-ho. You may get that type of officer, yes, but reasonable officers will come in and with the attitude of de-escalate the situation.
Yeah.
Now,
And you're right. You're right that de-escalation. I mean, sometimes you got to come in hot, like you said.
yeah,
But yeah, that's necessary. People need to keep in mind when you call the police, it's because you already lost control of the situation that you were in, that you need the police to come in and take control of and figure it out. Okay. Right. And I think people miss that aspect of it. So that's why an officer, if you come into a chaotic situation, you're right. Now, those are times where sometimes you do have to come in hot to get everybody's attention to say, hey, I'm in charge. Now, this is what you guys have to do. You sit down here, you sit down there. I'm going to get your side of the story first. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and get your side of the story. You know what I'm saying? So in a chaotic situation, like some type of disturbance or family fight or something like that, we're using that example right now. But in something like that, you do have to get everybody's attention, let them know that you are in charge, and take control of the situation, which, so people should understand you're not going to come into a situation like that very timid, very low key, because no one is going to hear you or listen to you or even realize who you are initially, right. Maybe. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and
so I agree with that.
Yeah, you don't want to show signs of weakness as a law enforcement. And I don't want to say it as being cocky or anything like that. But if you show signs of that you're not in charge or I ain't going to listen to you, it's because of that persona that you give off. Like, you're not an authority. Yeah, you might have a gun and a badge, but you talking like a little weakling, right? Criminals are going to pick up on that and they're going to try you, right? So they're going to try to escalate that situation because they know you there's not much you can do. What you going to do? Call for backup? What you going to do? You weak. You're punk. You ain't this. You ain't that. Okay, keep running your mouth. Right? You gotta let them know, like, okay, I ain't gonna mess with this dude right here. I ain't gonna try him. So yeah, like I said, you just get control of the situation so they know who's in charge and so that nobody can get hurt during this detention period here.
Right.
It's important to understand the difference between escalate and de-escalate, and the officer's role in this now. So like I said, we're talking about the officer's role and the citizen's role. Now, the citizen's role in any case is always, when the officer is giving these type of commands and may seem like he's coming in very authoritative. Again, keep in mind, he's trying to gain control of the situation because like Mike just said, you've already lost control of the situation, which is why you had to call the police. All right. So when they get there, you gotta start complying and listen to what they're telling you to do, so that nobody else gets hurt and they can get in and out and finish their investigation, so you can go on with your normal routine. So I mean, as the role as a citizen, I think that's pretty much it. I think in a nutshell is just that now again you got to comply, like we've been talking about for the last couple months. Comply, answer questions, listen, and move on, staying calm through the whole process, because you don't want to escalate it yourself, because as a citizen, if you try to escalate, you're not listening, you're not doing what they're telling you to do, the officer's going to raise up too. He's going to start thinking, or she's going to start thinking that there's red flags going off on here. Why you're not listening? Why you're not trying to follow their instructions? I'm telling you to keep your hands out of your pockets. You keep reaching into your pockets. I tell you to sit down, but you want to keep running off and going into this other room. Why are you trying to do all these things? This is what's going to make the officer, he's still going to de-escalate, because at that last time he tells you not to walk off anywhere, he's going to really detain you by putting you in handcuffs. and making you sit down because you know, and then he's gonna go in that room and try to make sure there's nothing in there that shouldn't be in there, like a weapon that you were going to try to get to hurt that officer with. So, you know, it's a role both parties have to play. Officer is going to react to you and how you are acting. All right. Like I said, when you stay in calm, you're taking that ability for them to do something stupid away by you just complying and staying calm, listening to what they're telling you to do. Go ahead, Mike. Look like you want to say something. I think your mic is off.
I was just saying that, and what the main thing we want to get across is maybe get people to understand why you may have some officers that come in very authoritative, and it to them may seem like they're not de-escalating because they're not calm, right? Or they're not approaching you in a calm way, or, you know, keep in mind when officers are giving you commands, like Corey was saying, we can't be timid in doing so. We can't be nice and quiet and polite. That's not how you're going to gain attention. That's not how you're going to gain control of an out of control situation. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. That's important for people to understand that, at least when you get those calls and you see some officers to say, oh, he or she is very aggressive in that situation or something like that. Well, there may be a reason why they're aggressive. And sometimes we will say, like we've said before, there are some officers who tend to be a little bit more aggressive than what is necessary when they're, and what I'm talking about when I say that is specifically officers who like talking to people in a so much of an aggressive way that sometimes it may not be necessary to do so, you know. But even then, even in that situation, matter of fact, even more so, if you get an officer who is coming across like that, it is very important that you comply, because if that officer is already at a high level and is coming to you at an already high level of you know, his verbal confrontation, if you will, then it's even more important that you comply and do what that officer is telling you, because you don't want that officer to have any kind of perception or feel that he or she has to go even higher to get you to do what they want you to do. You see what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. We do, and when I was a cop,
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Let
me play this little devil's advocate here. What if they're
we do devil's advocate.
what if they're violating my Fourth Amendment rights, my violating my rights, and he or she's acting this way?
See, here's the thing. Even more so, what you got to look at as a citizen is you got to look at what can I as the citizen do to make sure this doesn't get out of control any more than what I think it is already. And the only way to do that, no matter what your rights are, no matter what the law is, you got to think of the here and now, be present in the moment. You have a person in a position of authority telling you that he or she needs you to do A, B, and C. And if you don't do A, B, and C, it's all about what's in that person's mind, that position of authority's mind, to determine what they think they need to do. So as a citizen, I don't want to do anything or not do anything to create more havoc in the situation, because I know that if I comply, no matter what this officer is coming at me with, as long as I comply, ain't nothing more that can happen, because I'm complying and doing what I need to do.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to the commands and I'm doing what I need to do. Now, if you think your rights were violated still, like we said over and over in this show, after the fact, when it's all said and done, which means you have moved on, you are safe, no one was killed, no one was hurt, everything is good, and the call is over. Police have left. Now you can go down to the police department and you can file your complaint, say my rights are violated. because then that's the time and place to do that. Feel you need to get yourself an attorney and sue the police department or the officers who engaged in the activity that you felt was violating your rights, you are alive and well and safe to do so. You see what I'm saying? Go and hire your attorney and go ahead and start that process. We ain't telling you not to do that. Okay. But right there on the scene with the cops in your face, right there, it's always and will always be important to comply. That's the first acronym in CALM is comply. What you say to that, Cool?
No, you're 100%. And that's the point in all our videos we're trying to make is that you're able to move on to be able to take it to the next level of resolving your issue. You're able to go seek out that legal advice. You're able to go and talk to a supervisor, to pull video, to voice your concern and your complaint. And that's all we're trying to get you all to do is be able to move on safely, because there's no class on this. Well, we have a class that we can do via Zoom right now, but since everything's getting open back up, if you like for Mark and I to come to your organization, to your school, to your driving education classes that you hold, mothers, if you get a group of mothers together that want us to come talk to your kids, we'll be more than happy to arrange something like that to teach this acronym of staying calm to you, so you don't have to have fear. Like we said in a few videos back, there's no reason you should be afraid of the police. You need to be able to call them and to have them to come do the job that has been requested of them to do. Right. So those are things we're talking about now. And back into since we were talking about traffic stops, when these things are happening and trying to keep things in a de-escalation manner, when you're having a hot head yourself, because you just got pulled over by the police and you're saying things that you probably shouldn't be saying to the officer, you yourself are escalating the situation. Well, you're just opening the door or the window for the officer to start looking around for more stuff, more violations within your vehicle. And this is how you extend that traffic stop from just being a speeding violation to now you're doing investigation. Because now he sees that you had some visible drugs in there, which he probably could have just it's a dime bag, I'm gonna leave it alone. Now you running off at the mouth. Now you making him or her go that extra step now that they probably wasn't going to go, but since you were escalating the situation yourself, you're causing them to dig more and to look for more violations.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of citizens think when they think of a traffic stop, they think of it as, okay, the officer saw the traffic violation, stopped them for that traffic violation, give them the ticket and send them on their way, and that's the end of that. They think that a traffic stop, they don't know all the things that's in an officer's mind when that officer is doing the traffic stop. And so let me just give our viewers a little insight on how a traffic stop, how the mind of an officer is thinking on a traffic stop. Now, when I was a cop and when I went to the academy, matter of fact, a traffic stop was never about just a traffic stop. They train you to investigate your stop. Never think that it's all about just you stopping someone for a stop sign, you writing them a ticket for a stop sign, and you letting them go, and that's it. You always, as an officer, you're always thinking of more than that. So when we make a traffic stop, I'm looking at multiple things. I'm doing a little investigation. Number one, yeah, you did this violation, so I'm going to tell you about the violation, why I stopped you. But meanwhile, I'm looking around in your car where I can see, do I see any contraband in plain view that needs to be addressed? Like Corey was saying, do I see some illegal drugs or something like that? Do I see an illegal firearm laying around? Do I see something in the car in plain view that could be an indication of a crime? I'm looking at the driver. Is the driver under the influence of drugs or alcohol? I'm wondering, does the driver have any warrants? Is the driver on probation for anything? Probation or parole? Are there conditions to that probation or parole that I need to be aware of? So keep in mind, these are all the things that an officer is thinking about on a regular traffic stop, right? We're trained to look for multiple things, not just focus on the violation at hand. That's part of good policing. I mean, oftentimes when I did traffic stops on people, oftentimes you stop somebody who's on probation. They have conditions of their probation where they can't drive during a certain period of time, or they can't be in possession of A, B, C, or D, or they can't be in the company of someone who might be sitting in the passenger seat. I can't tell you how many times I've come across a driver who's had a restraining order against the passenger that they have sitting in their seat, that they're not supposed to be near the passenger. That you'd be surprised how often that happens. A lot of times you'll see things in plain view that can be an additional, whether it's a citation or an actual arrest where you're actually booked into jail for. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people don't realize that a traffic stop is a little bit more than just a traffic stop in an officer's mind. They are looking for multiple things. That might be why they ask you more questions than you might care to be asked, because they're investigating. That's all they're doing. That's good police work, is what that is.
Yeah, and that's their job, like you just said, to prevent any type of criminal activity. And keep in mind that this is how we get the bad guys or girls. This is how we get them, because like I said, earlier, we're looking for those red flags that are going off. You're nervous, you're sweating, you can't keep your story straight of what you're doing, where you're coming from, and those type of things that we're listening out for. We're looking at your body language. Why are you being so tense? Go ahead.
I'll give you an example quick. I had a scenario once. Not scenario. I like to use the word scenario, but I had an actual incident once where I had stopped someone in the vicinity of the mall where I worked. And one thing I had noticed in the stop is they had an unusual amount of clothing in the back seat that still had tags attached that belonged to a particular store in that mall, right? And it was a lot of clothing. The whole back seat was full of clothing with these tags attached. Some of them even had security sensors attached. So we know that when you purchase someone legally, they remove that security sensor most of the time anyway, right? And you're not gonna see that. Well, that raised the red flag on that traffic stop that I had. I began to ask the driver some questions about all this clothing with tags still attached to it, with security sensors and stuff like that attached to it. Asking them questions about, did you go shopping, or where's your bags at? Things like that. I'm asking investigative questions. And of course, the driver gave me very limited answers to my questions, or answers that just didn't make sense. So while I'm back at the car running the driver's license of the driver for this traffic violation that I stopped him for, I had our dispatch call the store in the mall where that showed the tag on these clothing items. And sure enough, the store said, yeah, we were just hit with a theft, but they hadn't had time to call it in yet. Okay. But they described the person that they had on their video as stealing a whole bunch of clothes from one of their displays and running out. Okay. And the description that they gave to our dispatch was matched the guy that I had stopped, matched that description, So I was able to catch the thief who stole all the merchandise from that store. I had the person from the store come out and identify the merchandise in the back of this guy's car. And sure enough, it was their clothing. They identified the guy that was the driver that I had stopped for a minor traffic violation, right? That ended up, so that minor traffic violation, based on that extra investigation of observing what's in the car and all of those things, resulted in the capture of a thief that did a grab and what we call a grab and run from the mall. You know, so that's a little example of how traffic stops, officers don't just look at a traffic stop at face value. They are looking at everything, anything that could be out of place or anything that can indicate a crime has occurred. And I think it's important for people to understand that. And that's why officers sometimes why is he asking me all these questions? You know, or something like that. That's why, because they're supposed to do that.
Yeah, they're supposed to ask the who, what, where, when, and whys. Now, did this guy did he give you any attitude, or he was compliant the whole time?
Now, in this case, he was complying the whole time, and I think he was complying because he knew that he was doing something wrong. Well, I don't know. You know, I'm speculating now. But the answer to your question in a nutshell is he actually was complying. But the red flags was the answers he was giving me. They were either very limited or they just didn't make sense. And the items that I saw in plain view. Now, is it illegal to have clothing in your back seat of your car? No, no. But a good officer, good police work, if you're looking at that clothing and they all got tags attached to them with security sensors on there, well, you know, based on your experience, that people don't usually have that much clothing, merchandise, basically, with tags and security sensors attached to them, unless they stole them somewhere. I had already had knowledge that we got a lot of grab and runs from the mall, right? From the different stores in the mall. He was in the area of the mall when I stopped him, and the tags on the thing on the merchandise belonged to a particular store that I know had been hit several times with grab and runs. So that caused me to continue that investigation while I was writing him a ticket for the traffic violation and handling that accordingly. So, you know, but it's important to comply, but these are things that officers are looking for on a basic traffic stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you know, like always, the bottom line when you have an interaction with law enforcement is to always to stay calm and don't just think because they're asking you a bunch of questions that they're just out to harass you, to give you a hard time. No, it's what we call policing and police work. This is what we as citizens pay them to do investigative work. You may not seem like that's important to you, but like I said earlier, this is how we get criminals off the street, right? By going the extra mile trying to figure out things, what's going on. And it's not always just about that, you know, tail light being out or the dangling object from the rear view mirror. So, all right, fam, if you like this content of this video we put out tonight, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Let us know your thoughts on de-escalating and escalating, and let us know your situation that you had with an officer. Leave it in the comments down below, and Mike and I will get to your comments on our next show. We thank you for listening to us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this information. And if you like, again, like I said, now that we're getting towards the end of this virus thing, if you like Mike and I to still do a Zoom conference with church group, youth group, or teachers out there to have students that you would like for them to talk to two brothers, prior law enforcement officers, about interacting with police, let us know. You can get in contact with us. You can leave us your contact information below, or hit us up over on Facebook at Brothas-in-law, or over on Instagram at Brothas-in-law_21 to get a hold of us. And we can set something up via Zoom, or if we can come to you, we can come to you. All right. So thank you for watching us this evening. I hope you like this again, and we will see y'all next week. Mike, you got any
Peace out.
final words, Mike?
No.
Yeah. All right, hey,
Keep
y'all
giving
be
that
safe
info
and
out.
be blessed. And hey, and stay
All right.
calm, right? Stay calm. All right. Be
All right.
blessed, y'all. Peace.